Hello, Chaos Theory enthusiasts. Welcome to another episode of Chaos Theory, the news as seen by AI, with your host, Beatrix Kiddo. It's February 11th, 2025, and I've got some wild stories for you today. First up, a contraceptive implant takes a wild journey to an unexpected destination in a woman's body. You won't believe where it ended up. Next, DOGE is on the move, and states are preparing to sue. What's going on with this popular cryptocurrency, and how is it affecting your social security? We'll dive into the details. Forget psychedelics, there's a new microdosing trend in town. We'll tell you all about the latest craze and what it could mean for your health. Then, prepare to be amazed by some incredible footage of orcas off the coast of Antarctica. These majestic creatures are teaching their calves how to hunt, and it's a sight to behold. And finally, have you ever wondered why flies are so attracted to humans? We'll get to the bottom of this annoying mystery. So, buckle up and get ready for another chaotic ride through the world of news as seen through the eyes of AI. Let's get started. In a bizarre medical case, a woman in the UK found that her contraceptive implant had traveled from her arm all the way to her lung. The woman, who is in her 30s, noticed that she couldn't feel the implant under her skin where it had been inserted 6 years prior. After consulting with doctors and undergoing imaging tests, it was discovered that the implant had been incorrectly inserted and had become dislodged, eventually making its way to her lung.
Wow, that's quite the journey for a small plastic rod. But let's back up a bit. Contraceptive implants are a type of reversible contraception that are placed under the skin of the upper arm. They release a slow and steady dose of progestin, a synthetic version of the hormone progesterone, which prevents pregnancy in a number of ways. The only implant currently available in the UK and US is called Nexplanon, and it provides effective contraception for up to 3 years before needing to be removed and replaced.
Right. And in very rare cases, these implants can migrate from the arm to other parts of the body. In fact, between 2006 and 2015, 38 cases of implant migration were reported to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The woman in this case likely had her implant inserted incorrectly, which increased the risk of migration. And if an implant does make it to the lungs, it can cause symptoms like coughing, shortness of breath, and chest pain. In our next story, reported by Lucas Ropek for Gizmodo, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, is causing chaos in the federal government.
That's right, B. DOGE has been moving from one government agency to the next, firing people and seizing data. And now they're turning their attention to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Social Security Administration.
An anonymous source told Semaphore that DOGE is planning to work with the Social Security Administration, but it's unclear what changes they have in mind. Given DOGE's track record of slashing and burning, it's hard to imagine that their plans will be helpful to the average American.
DOGE has also landed at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which protects consumers against scams and financial wrongdoing. The agency's union announced DOGE's arrival in a press release, describing Musk as a professional Twitter poster and Jeffrey Epstein confidant.
Ouch, that's not a great look for Musk. The press release also identified the DOGE members who had stormed the CFPB's offices, including a lobbyist for Big Pharma and a former field organizer for Bobby Jindal.
And if that wasn't enough, one of DOGE's minions, a 23-year-old former SpaceX intern, showed up at the Department of Energy and was given access to the department's IT systems. It's unclear why anyone thought that was a good idea.
DOGE is now facing multiple lawsuits, and attorneys general for over a dozen states are preparing to sue the organization over its access to U.S. Treasury data. The states say they want to ensure those responsible are held accountable.
It looks like DOGE's reign of terror may be coming to an end. But in the meantime, millions of Americans could be affected by their actions. Let's hope that the legal challenges are successful in reining in this rogue organization.
That's right, David. It seems that people are taking limited amounts of this drug, not for weight loss, but for its anti inflammatory properties and other surprising side benefits.
I've heard of Ozempic before, B. Isn't it a drug used to treat type 2 diabetes?
Yes, that's correct. But people are now taking half the regular introductory weekly dose to achieve these other benefits, such as losing puffiness in the face, increased mental clarity, and a decreased risk of heart disease, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, and Parkinson's.
Wow, that's quite the list of benefits. But how does it work exactly?
Well, according to Dr. Caroline Messer, a top Manhattan endocrinologist, the key is decreased inflammation. In patients without diabetes, it doesn't lower blood sugar but still has an anti inflammatory effect.
And it seems that people are not just using it for physical benefits, but for mental ones as well. Dr. Annette Oreshko, a Park Avenue dermatologist, says that microdosing can have a lasting effect in achieving a mental edge.
That's right, David. By modulating certain pathways, it may help reduce neuroinflammation, a key factor in cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases. And it's not just limited to physical and mental benefits. Dr. Amanda Kahn, an internist and longevity specialist, says her patients who are microdosing are reporting more clarity and energy, as well as fewer aches and pains.
Wow, it seems like this drug is a real game changer. But is it safe to microdose?
Well, like any drug, it should be taken under the supervision of a doctor. But according to Dr. Babak Azizadeh, a top Beverly Hills facial plastic surgeon, LA in particular is seeing a surge in the trend. He notes that it reminds him of Botox, which expanded from medical to cosmetic use, then began being used for headaches and depression. In a remarkable display of teamwork and teaching, a group of orcas were filmed carefully instructing their young calves on how to hunt in western Antarctica's Marguerite Bay.
That's right, B. The footage, which was filmed for the new PBS show Nature Expedition Killer Whale, shows a group of 7 orcas, including 4 adults and 3 calves, circling a seal on a small piece of ice.
The adults were seen demonstrating various hunting techniques to the calves, such as wave washing, tipping the ice, bubble blowing to flush the seal from under the ice, and taking hold of the seal by its hind flippers to prevent injury from its teeth.
And get this, the teaching session lasted over an hour. Lee Hickmott, a whale biologist and science advisor for the show, observed the encounter from a nearby boat and was amazed by the careful and measured way in which the females kept the seal corralled close to the ice without fatally injuring it.
Orcas are highly intelligent apex predators, known for their social behavior and hunting in packs. They're also one of the few species known to actively teach their young and one another different skills, resulting in innovative new behaviors.
The orcas in the clip, known as type B1 orcas, are known for their wave-washing hunting technique, where the pod works together to create large waves that knock seals from the safety of ice flows into the water.
And if that's not impressive enough, the PBS show also reveals the first recordings of these orcas' calls to each other as they search for prey, coordinate hunts, and share their catch.
Hickmott says the teaching sequence highlights the cultural transmission of knowledge between orcas and their ability to solve complex problems through teamwork. He also notes that regularly allowing young inquisitive calves to participate in order to learn strengthens the pod's future capabilities and likelihood of survival.
So, David, it looks like these orcas are not only skilled hunters, but also excellent teachers. In our next story, reported by Margaret Osborne for Live Science, we find out why flies are so annoying and why they love to hang around us. It turns out that the reason depends on the species of fly. Some flies, like mosquitoes and deer flies, are attracted to us because we are warm-blooded mammals that they can feed on. They are drawn to the carbon dioxide that we exhale when we breathe. But other flies, like houseflies, are more interested in the nutrients on our skin. They can drink up the carbohydrates and proteins in our sweat and skin oils. It's like a 7-Eleven for them.
Ugh, gross. I never thought of it that way, but it makes sense. I mean, have you ever noticed how flies seem to appear out of nowhere when you're sweating? It's like they can sense it. And it's not just sweat that they're after. Some flies, like fruit flies, are attracted to the smell of ripe or rotting fruit. They can detect it from miles away.
That's right, David. And it's not just their sense of smell that's impressive. Flies also have large, bulbous eyes made up of thousands of individual lenses that are extremely sensitive to movement. They have a nearly 360-degree field of view, which makes it almost impossible to sneak up on them. And they're naturally curious creatures, which is why they seem to be constantly landing on us and other surfaces.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's like they're just begging to be swatted. But as annoying as they are, flies are actually pretty fascinating creatures. They have a unique way of eating, for example. To break down solid food, they vomit up digestive enzymes to liquefy their meal and then suck it up through their straw-like proboscises. It's kind of gross, but also kind of cool, don't you think?
Definitely cool, David. And speaking of cool, did you know that flies have taste receptors on their feet? That's right, they can quickly tell if something is edible just by landing on it. And they have sensory cells that can detect a meal from miles away and send different signals to their brain depending on which chemicals they find in the air. It's like they have superpowers.
Wow, I had no idea. But as much as I admire their superpowers, I still can't stand having them buzzing around me. Is there anything we can do to keep them away?
Well, David, there's no one-size-fits-all method for making yourself less attractive to all fly species. But wearing long clothing and repellents like DEET or oil of lemon eucalyptus can help deter some of them. And it's important to keep food covered and clean up any spills or crumbs, as flies are attracted to these sources of nutrition. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Chaos Theory, the news as seen by AI. I'm Beatrix Kiddo, your host, and I hope you enjoyed today's summary of the day's top stories. Remember, AI-based news summaries should always be fact-checked prior to sharing, so please do your due diligence before spreading any information. On this day in history, in 1990, Nelson Mandela was released from prison after 27 years, marking the beginning of the end of apartheid in South Africa. It's a reminder of the power of persistence and the fight for justice. Thank you again for listening, and be sure to join us again tomorrow for more news. Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Until then, stay informed and stay safe.